Hi, fifth graders. Welcome back to Persuasive Writing. This is session 14, and today we will be working on writing body paragraph number 4, which is going to be your counterclaim and rebuttal. So, what is the counterclaim/rebuttal paragraph going to be about? Well, our goal is to acknowledge the counterclaim. Remember, the counterclaim is what you think someone might say if they were to disagree with you. So you are anticipating somebody else's argument against you, and you're preparing yourself to prove them wrong. So the structure that we're going to follow when acknowledging this counterclaim in our paper is that we're going to write, some might think, then you're going to write what the counterclaim is, however, and then you're going to take your stance or your rebuttal. And you'll see an example of that when I write my own in my paragraph. So we are going to prove that the counterclaim is wrong using the evidence that we have collected already through our research. Don't forget, as always, you need to unpack the evidence with your own thoughts. Remember the layer of cake. We want to make sure that our cake doesn't crumble. We have enough of our own thoughts or the frosting to hold it together, but we also don't want to have too much frosting and not enough cake or enough evidence to support our reasonings. Okay, so let's take a look at my example. You are going to need open your outline, your persuasive essay outline, your boxes and bullets, and your persuasive essay sloppy copy. So let's take a look at my outline. I'm going to scroll down to my counterclaim/rebuttal, and I'm going to see what I wrote for my topic sentence, because this is where we are going to acknowledge the counterclaim. I had written, some might think sports would distract kids from their homework. So here I'm acknowledging what I think someone might say. If somebody disagreed with me, they might say that sports would distract kids from doing their homework. But now I'm going to prove them wrong with my rebuttal. However, playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. So I've acknowledged what the opposing side might say here, but I'm proving them wrong by saying, actually, sports will help improve their academic performance. Then I'm going to add evidence as to how sports will help improve academic performance, and I'll finish off with a closing sentence. So with that, I will open my boxes and bullets. I'm going to scroll down to the counterclaim. And here I have, some might think playing sports will distract kids from their homework. However, playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. And this is where I have my 3 pieces of evidence listed. So now I'm going to go into my persuasive essay. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to start a new paragraph. Remember, always indenting with that tab when we're starting a new paragraph. And I'm going to copy my topic sentence from my outline. If you already have it written, you can copy and paste it. However, I do want you to make sure you're following the correct format. And what I mean by that is we are looking to follow this some might think, however, format. So if you haven't written yours in that format, I need you to go ahead and revise that. So here I have some might think. Okay, and I'm actually going to ask you to highlight that. I want you to highlight some might think so that you can see that. Sports will distract kids from their homework. However, and this is the format we're going to follow. So once you have written your counterclaim, some might think sports will distract kids from their homework, you're going to put a semicolon or a period. There's 2 ways you could do this. You can put a semicolon, which is, instead of writing a colon, you're just going to click the semicolon button. And then a space, write the word however, and we put a comma after however, because we're separating this sentence into 2 different clauses. So here is the first clause, some might think sports will distract kids from their homework, semicolon, space, however, comma, playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. If this is a bit too confusing for you, you could always finish off this sentence and start off with however, comma. So some might think sports will distract kids from their homework, period, however, comma, playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. Either way works. Here we just have 2 sentences as opposed to 1. So I want you to go ahead and highlight some might think, and then you're also going to highlight however, because that is the, oops, changed my font color. That is the goal we're reaching for. Okay, some might think sports will distract kids from their homework. However, playing sports will actually help improve academic performance. Now I need to go back to my boxes and bullets and look at what evidence I collected to prove this as true. Sports and physical activity positively impacts academic performance as it encourages the enhancement of brain function and cognition through increasing blood flow to the brain. Now, what is my source for this? So I'm going to copy and paste this into a new window so that I can double check what the title of my article was. And I believe it was called The Positive Impact of Sport on Education. Okay. According to, comma, quotation, the positive, capitalize, impact of sport on education, comma, quotation. Sports actually improve brain function by increasing blood flow to the brain. So I've just paraphrased that and put it in my own words. As you can see, this is a bit lengthy and a bit wordy, and I've just cut it down and put it in my own words. It increases brain function. I want to put and cognition. Brain function and cognition by increasing blood flow to the brain. Now I have to unpack this. Well, what am I saying? Well, this proves that physical activity will benefit the brain and its function, allowing kids to focus more on their homework. Okay. Now again, I'm going to highlight my transition phrases. Make sure you're highlighting those transitional phrases. This proves that. What color did I highlight those in? Okay, turquoise, there we go. All right, now what is my second piece of evidence? Notice all of these came from the same source. Students who participate in curricular and extracurricular physical activities have also shown a higher commitment to school and an increased desire and ability to participate in school life. Okay, so I'm actually going to take this as a direct quote. I'm going to follow that rule where I say one direct quote and two paraphrase. Okay, also written in this article is the idea that, comma, now I'm going to put in my direct quotation, students who participate in curricular and extracurricular have also shown a higher commitment to school and an increased desire and ability to participate in school life. Okay, this makes me think that a kid who plays sports is actually more likely to succeed in school. All right, I've unpacked that quote. This makes me think that using those sentence starters and transitional phrases, I forgot to highlight according to the article. We want to make sure we're highlighting those as well because those are our sentence starters when we are quoting an article. According to this article. All right, now finally my last piece of evidence is that regular participation in sport and physical activity leads to greater attentiveness in classrooms, which increases a student's ability to concentrate on, absorb, and recall content and subject materials. So regularly playing sports and being physically active increases attentiveness. Regular physical activity from playing sports increases attentiveness, which allows kids to better concentrate, recall information, and absorb information, absorb material. Okay, and I need to cite this source. This article, or I'm going to say finally, this article states that regular, okay, now I'm going to highlight my transition phrase finally, and I'm going to highlight my sentence. This article states that, transitional phrase. All right, now finally I have to just unpack this last piece of evidence. In other words, playing a sport will be highly beneficial to kids in their studies because it allows them to recall information more easily. Okay, in other words, this is my sentence starter transitional phrase, so I'm going to highlight that as well. And finally, I have to finish off with a closing sentence. So as you can see, I want to refer back to what the main idea of this paragraph was in my closing sentence, so I'm going to reword what my counterclaim was. As you can see, if you believed that sports would distract kids from their homework, you would be wrong. Actually, it is the exact opposite. Okay, so I've restated my counterclaim and rebuttal. As you can see is my transitional phrase, so I'm going to highlight that. Actually, that's another transitional phrase, I'm going to highlight that. It is the exact opposite. So as you can see in my counterclaim / rebuttal body paragraph, I've started off my sentence with some might think, however, that's the format I would like you to follow. Then I've gone into proving my rebuttal with evidence, 3 pieces of evidence. You can use 2 if you only found 2. I said that the third piece was optional. Remember to unpack those pieces of evidence with your own thoughts. Remember to highlight some might think, however, highlight those transitional phrases and sentence starters, and finish up with a closing sentence that captures the idea of the main paragraph without explicitly writing it in the same exact words. Try to add in your own personality. Actually, it's the exact opposite. See, I'm adding in a little bit of voice there as well, so feel free to add in your voice as well. So this is your final body paragraph, and next time we will move on to the conclusion. Let us know if you have any questions.